Thank you. Boy, oh boy. Thank you. Thank you a lot. That's a kind of a prayer, man, too. Thank you. I'm so glad that you allowed me to come into a group of people such as this a few years ago, that you welcomed me then, and you're now welcoming me here to this exciting affair, this exciting celebration to me, picnic, school, educational center. That's what my sponsor, Ted, said. He said, you're going to learn something, black fool. That's what he called me. And I didn't, later on I wondered, how did he know me? How did that? I didn't know a thing about me and didn't know it. Thank each and every one of you for your being here, taking your precious time out of your day to come into this session, to this AA way, and here today. Yes, because by your being here, you're really demonstrating and illustrating the action that brought me in. When I slid and skidded in here, stumbled and fumbled, really I quivered and shivered. I didn't walk in here looking for any better way or any new day. I came in on an angle. I'm an angle shooter. I came in here lying. I didn't qualify. I snapped it on, Terry. I don't know, it may run the people out here with all this stuff on here. I came in here on an angle, I told you, faking. I really didn't come in. There's a white dude, I called him then, that's the cause of me being here. That's what I called this guy, Francis Quinn. And as you begin to get a grip on this chump, I found out who this white dude really was. I'm still finding out about Francis Quinn. That's who he was, and that's who he is. Francis Quinn. He's a saint. Didn't take long for me to find that out after being with you. After being with you. After being in here with you and honestly trying to apply instead of defy these principles, Ted said. You see, I have a very limited formal education, and it took a while for me to get into this style. You see, Ted told me, he saw, and he knew, as you knew. You knew I was a phony and a faker. You knew it. You knew something about me. You knew more than something, because there wasn't very much about me. And you knew all about me when I quivered in here. Yes, I want to thank you, each and every one of you tonight, because I couldn't read when I came, and this is no self-pity talk. I want to tell you something about you tonight. Yes, I do. This is really great to see my family. You turn out to be my big family. You have become everything more than I've ever dreamed about. Never did I ever dreamed that I would meet anyone like you. Never. And here you are. Every day you get clearer and nearer into my soul. I think that's real close. I'm trying to find the words that would declare the nearest you can be. Because without you, there would be no me at all. Yes, I came to in here, and I woke up. I am still waking up in here. I'm more excited today. I was telling Bill, the wonderful gentleman from Florida, that I felt kind of nervous. It wasn't nervous, but it's kind of real excited, as I do when I meet you face to face, and I keep you with me all of my day. All of my day that you presented to me. And you helped me to really reach out and try to get a hold of it. This day. Couldn't read or write. I didn't like the big book. I didn't like the steps. I didn't like you. Found out I didn't even like me, and I thought I did. I couldn't like anything, let alone love. Just now, learning a little bit about love. Being an AA member. Yes, I'm an AA member today. Oh, I'm not marking my papers. My sponsor, Ted, said, he told me some things. He said, don't you ever mark your papers, monkey. People around there talking about, I'm doing good now. I haven't had a drink in 90 days and 90. That's good. I haven't had a drink and the people all in there, I know I'm doing good and this, and I don't think I need, see, a whole lot. He said, don't you ever start marking your papers. He said, and make your meetings. Make my meetings. Did you make your meeting? I said, yes, Ted. He see a frown on, hey, are you making your meetings? My meetings. He always talk about make your meetings. I didn't know I had anything. I was scared to ask Ted, what did he mean? My meeting. Y'all's meetings, y'all. He said, make your meetings. Make your meetings. He gave you to me. What a treat. What a gift. I'm finding out. A gift. I hear some people now. I know some things I may say in trying to describe a black food view of you coming through you. I'm talking about AA through this black fool's soul, spirit. And I have a spirit today because of you. I believe in that. I'm a believer. I am a believer. I have to say it over and over, not to convince me, but to let me know something about me today. I'm getting an identification. Now that meant a lot to me, and it means a lot. Identification and realization, becoming aware of who and where and how I am. Never even dreamt in my wildest dream about finding out who I was, because I've been running from me all my strife. The little that I knew of me, I didn't want to catch a glimpse of me no more. No more. Didn't like me. I tried to be anybody else I bumped into. Hank and Frank and Tim and Slim and Billy and Willie. I found out something about me when you started telling me about this week. You introduced me to you. I met you way before I met me. You gave me courage to meet me. This is something. You're the greatest people that I know of. Yes, you are. Couldn't read or write. Wasn't thinking nothing about it either. Thinking about no reading. I hear people start reading how it worked. I saw people, and I liked that. Wow. When I creeped in, I was like a frozen zombie, a petrified mummy. And I began to defrost. This dude called Francis Quinn, he was superintendent of outgoing mail. I don't want to get hooked up into no stories, because I want to tell you something about you. The kind of the tip of the top, the cream of the crop of you. And it's dear to me. Like I take you home with me. I take you anywhere I go. And when I come to you, I can go anywhere. I didn't know that. I can go to me. That was a big trip to come to me. Now this to me. Never did I want to come to me. Play that loud music, go down to the Silver Spoon and the Blue Moon. That's where all the scamps from the tramp camps went. Play that loud music. Then I could sail on out there. Sail on out there. Get away. Get away. Do the buck dance. Get away. Let's go. Let's get away. Then I always would have to come back. I believe in treatment centers. That's a great Christian. I wish I had. And then again I said, no. My sponsor stopped me from wishing and talking about luck. I used to hear people say, boy, we all so lucky setting up. And my sponsor Ted said, don't you ever let me hear you say something about being lucky because you're in AA. Luck ain't got nothing to do with you being in here, Ted said to me. I have to tell you that because I know some people say, you hear that monkey talking about my sponsor's wrong? Someone sponsoring their life will tell them they're real lucky. So I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me and my sponsor. He had a 4th grade education, formal education. I had way more education than Ted because I finished grammar school with a lot of help on trial. That's what they had in Chicago after I left Mississippi. See, I was born in Shelby, Mississippi. Shelby, Mississippi. And boy, Shelby, Mississippi is in much better shape today since I am sober, I believe. Tennessee, Alabama, Alaska, Finland, China, Australia, Jupiter. I think they said this guy called Einstein said we all relate, relativity. You're getting me in shape to learn. The stoppers start popping out of my ears. I came in here like a frozen zombie, a petrified mummy. Meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, I began to thaw out. And I began to look around. And I began to see what I was looking at. I was old, folks. You're not just folks either. My sisters and brothers, I was old when I quivered and shivered in here. Yes, I was old. Got almost ready to die before I started learning how to live. And you talking about exciting? This is exciting. An old monkey coming around. My sponsor Ted said, hey, he saw the stoppers popping out. He knew the skin was peeling off of my eyes. He knew it. I didn't know it. But strange things was happening. It made me think I was going out of it. I look around and different things was popping. I thought I was having a stroke or something. I was coming to life. Defrosting. I sat up in the meeting, and AA members don't get excited like that. AA members, the guys fall out in the meeting and quiver. They know that's just another part of the moment of truth coming through. Moment of truth. And I would quiver and shiver. And in here I learned to tie my shoes. I couldn't tie my shoes when I was resurrected in here. I'm learning a lot of words too and relating to you. Resurrection. Yes, I hear them talking about Easter and Christmas. They mean something to me now. They mean something. I've been baptized. I got to hurry up because I know you all can't sit in it. See, I'm talking about you. Maybe I'm not mentioning each one of you's name, but I'm talking about you, each and every one of you in here. So don't think you are unimportant. Say, I only been in there a week. Say, I'm talking about you. Just got here today. Just like that little sand that's thrown in effect, just like this monkey getting sober, can affect the universe, I believe, today because of you and what you talk and walk about. I got something to do with you. You got something to do with me. Your action's important to me. Yes, it is. I like you. I like to see you. I like to make my meetings. Yes, I thank you for being here. You're letting me know I couldn't and wouldn't believe in God, man, or beast when I creeped and seeped in here. Now I'm a believer. I don't have any religion because I just don't go out and lie anymore like I used to. The lying that's lied that ever lied a lie right here. I was baptized when I was 6 years old. Yes, I was. They baptized little black kids and colored kids. That's what I was. I have to get on my identification. Identification means something to me today. That's my first identification. My mama had a seamstress. There he goes, there he goes. Some people say, boy, in New York. I was there one time. They were trying to trick somebody. Amarillo, Texas. I think Chuck C. was there. I know Bill and Chuck Chamberlain. He was an old timer. They called him Dad. I called him Brother because he was looking good and young. I'd seen him in Chicago. That's why I first got baptized by you all in Chicago. And then I went, then I seen him up in my first. I seen him and a lot of you up in Toronto. I think my first they call it an international conference. I couldn't even pronounce all. And I sat down in that Royal York. I sat down on those great big seat chairs, almost good as these. I sat down and I sank way down in those chairs, and I just looked. I looked. People international conference, 65, and people were passing by, and everybody was speaking, saying hi. And I was speaking, hi, hello, boy, look at here. And then I would get up and I would look, and I'd look some more. And I am still looking with the excitement, and I'm delighted to be excited this way. Yes, yeah, I saw Chuck C. up there. I think he was a Sunday speaker like my buddy Bill. And he had the excitement in his soul. And like that lad that ran up here with that gray hair on and shot it out here. And that other lad and the lady, that all, see, you're excited. You have action in here. I don't mean jumping around acting a fool like me. See, I jump around because I can't stand still. Not when you're involved with me. When I came in here, I couldn't hardly walk. I said I was old. And they said, oh, he's just an old fool. Old now. But you're giving me something where age don't fit in too much. I don't have to talk about it. Never dreamt in my wildest dream that I would know anything. I couldn't read, and I was looking for pictures. The big book didn't have any pictures, and I didn't like the big book. My sponsor was talking about the book, and he was helping me to try to read, and he did a job. Over and over, we would take, and hand in hand, he would walk me out in Washington Park, holding my hand. I thought I said, Ted must be gay. Well, it didn't make no difference. Because I didn't know who I was, and it felt kind of good for him holding my hand. We would go walking out in the park. Nobody said a word. Look up at the treetops. Old Ted had a big old raggedy car, and he would take me out in the park. Then we'd look at the lagoon, and I was waiting for him. Pardon me. And we looked, and I see a bird every now and then would fly. And then I would hear the wind blowing. It was so quiet, and then after going in and out of that park day in and day out, I could hear music. I could hear music. The same music I heard when I first came to here. I heard music and how it works. I used to call it the song of life and love. How it works, how it works, how it helped me to find my pace, to occupy my place in this space. How it works. Yes, it let me know I could go through life any way I want to waltz. If I want to waltz, do the 1, 2, the boogaloo, anything I want, I could find my pace in this new rhythm. Maybe it came from the heartbeat. I asked Ted, I said, where's the band next door or something? He said, what's wrong with you, fool? He said, there's no music down in here. I said, and it's every now and then I hear it again. Maybe it came from the heartbeat. Maybe the flow of the blood. It was coming from you, I found out. Maybe it was from your eyes. There's something. The same music I heard out there. They call it nature, reality. Everything was turning into goodness. I began to recognize people. Day in and day out, I thaw it out. I began to thaw out, melt into life, frozen zombie, petrified mummy. And Ted gave me a seat on the front row, and I would sit down. And then he would let me go get my coffee after a while. He said, go get your own coffee. And I would go get my coffee. And then he said, come back. He'd tell me to come back, sit down. And I'd sit down. Then after a while, I began to hear. Stop it. I saw. I could remember. I said, Ted, jump up in the middle of the meeting. I said, Ted, Thelma. That's Thelma. He said, yes. Yes. He said, that's Thelma. He said, sit down. Sit down. And then never told me to shut up or anything. Cool. Everybody was looking. I knew now. Everybody knew that I was getting over those rough spots coming in and out. I said, that's Floyd. That's Floyd. I got real retarded as I was. Floyd. He said, yeah, that's Floyd. Floyd excited me. You excited Tim and Slim and Billy and Willie, Lou and Sue, Ellen and Helen. I began to see you. I began to get your identification. And then one day, my sponsor, Ted, didn't suggest nothing to me. They always talk about it now. You know what I'm talking about? This is just a suggestion. Say, you don't tell. My sponsor told me what to do. I'm so glad. He told me what to do in a different tone than I heard anybody telling them what to do in that one. Because he knew I was a fool. And I tell you who else knew it. But he was a soft-going man. So was my sponsor a little bit. He sweetly carried me, and it was this white dude. Ain't this something? I had a different, I'm talking about this black fool here, about what AA means to me. I'm not talking on racism. I'm not talking on politics. I am not talking about the school system. I am not talking about religion or anything. I'm talking about what AA is doing to, with, and for me through this week. I always had attitude. People don't like to talk about the coming through sometime. It's involving a lot of things happened to me. It changed my whole life from strife to life. It's turning me inside out and right about. I have a family today. It started here in Indiana. I guess I'd been here 2 or 3 years. I don't know. Time didn't mean anything to me. I went to Notre Dame. Ted said, let's go. Last of July, and I followed on behind him because there wasn't no argument. And I went to Notre Dame. I said, wonder what? And they had lagoons and everything, big old, look at that big dome, but all that gold on. And I looked around. Everything looked new. Where I'd been living in strife for many, many years looked new. I used to point, I said, when did that get? They said, that's been there 40 years, boy. I looked around, I seen things. And they were brand new. And I quit asking people around what was that, because and I just stopped and I looked. And I would sit down and I'd take you with me. You were with me if I didn't take you anyway. Because the only thing I could move was over you. And I met you in these meetings. You were telling me about you. You told me who you were in here. I didn't know a thing about you, but you were I came to stop and start listening to you. Oh, Floyd, Ted, Ned, and Helen and Ellen. I heard you talking. I met you way before I met me. And then, in talking about you, one day you talked about me. And I looked, there was something about me. And you talked about me, although you were talking about you. You talked about you. And after a while, you talked about me. You introduced me to me. And then you began to equip me where I could deal with you and me and a thee. I used to point up there and say, and a thee. Because people usually know what you're talking. But I don't know what I'm talking about when I'm pointing up. I'm following what other. Today, old customs and tradition don't necessarily have to fit with me. It's because of you and the things you do to, with, and for me. Customs are good, traditions and all like that. Some are not for me. Uncle Willie, Johnny, and Frank, all my uncles, aunties, the older people. I think there was 10 or 12 of them in the family. They all came from Louisiana. They came from Clinton. And a gang of them, about 4 of them dropped off in Shelby, Mississippi. Because my grandfather had a big plantation and then had a big lot of land. And then he got everything together and he came to that big northern place, Chicago. Going to Chicago. They went up there way back in 1919 or 20 or something. But my mama had a big tailor shop there. He gave her an education. Boy, hurry up and get through with this. These people got other things to do than sit here and listen to you talk about them. But you mean so much. I'm going to rush through this and get it. I got to see. I'm going to tip off the top. But this means something to me and the contributing factors that had me always trying to figure out things. And I didn't have nothing to figure out things with. My sponsor, Ted, said, I used to tell him, I said, Ted, I don't understand this program. I don't understand. He said, now, no, you don't. He said, first thing, you got to have something up here to understand with, and you don't have it. He said, you just come to believe what I'm telling you, black fool, is right, because that's what you said. You told Francis Quinn, who was superintendent of outgoing mail, and that's what I was in there trying to hold on to that little old job so I could continue to break loose in my Rucus juice. It took money to buy that wine and all that other stuff. They say, you drink wine, that's what's wrong with you anyway, black fool. You drink wine and you hang around with scrap iron and gut bucket. You got to change your company, aunties and them told me. And I told Ted, I said, I didn't just drink wine. I drank anything that I didn't have to chew. I drank anything. And I went on. It didn't make no difference what I had. And so the story goes. But the moment of truth is coming. The moment of truth has come. The moment of truth has come to me many a time. And I think you have had it. I think you have. My sponsor told me, don't talk about other people when you're talking about this. If you ever get forced into given a privilege, somebody ask you to tell what AA means to you, say you talk about you. Don't come talking about we all drunks, we whoop our wives, and we all drunks stole and cheated on our income tax. Say, look, man, say you talk about what you did. You don't know what happened to other people. And he fussed with me, he told me. And I thought, I heard some people talking. I heard some people talking to their sponsorees. I heard them saying, the girl would ask her, say, when do you think I'm ready? When do you think I ought to take the 4th step? She said, oh, don't worry about it. Don't you worry, your little beautiful little guys with hair, that's why. I said, man, I think I'm ready for the 8. Don't you think so? When do you think? He said, don't worry about it. He said, keep making your meetings, keep making your meetings. Don't drink, don't use, honestly try to apply instead of defy these principles. And I said, my sponsor don't ever tell me that. And he said, and they will rub off on you. These steps. Boy, that sounds good to me. They will rub off on you. And it looked like they took, because I saw them. And they began to throw that shoulder, and they began to walk, and they talked about their sponsor and kissed them, everybody hugging. My sponsor never. But I found out when you all got me in shape, you boost me up to that big magnifying glass, that telescope that I heard about, that Einstein, everybody made it possible. That telescope or something where they look way out. Scientists are smart. They got a telescope. And that telescope, they can fix it now. They've been looking for that thing they call the Big Bang. All that beautiful light and fire in the beginning of this thing. They're going to find it. They said, well, we don't know where it is. It's out there because everything is rushing this way. And they was talking about that Big Bang. And then when I was coming through the fog and smog, I could hear them talking about the Big Bang. And the first person that came up from out of the trees and everything, and where they landed over there, and I knew, and that hit me. Because the church thing went over my head. I didn't have, everything really went over my head. See, when you're talking about sin. Because I had a little, I'm going to go back. So no, I better stay on this because I get lost. I can't remember too well, see. And I remember when they were talking about that Big Bang and that telescope, because I'm getting into another telescope that you gave me that's better than that one. And they're building them every day, and they look way out there. I don't know if it's 17 billion light years ago, but anyway, they found it way up ahead. And they saw the light, they said, about 20 or 25 years ago. See, we found it. It's in there, and I believe them. I'm a believer today. I used to not believe it. And they found that light. Because you have given me another telescope. Step four. Step four. What has that got to do with that? That's something you entered. You said something about inventory. What's the inventory? That was a long way I could not. Inventory. My sponsor Ted said inventory. And you all know all the language and everything. You've been to school. You know, boy. Said inventory was taken from a Latin word meaning to find. That's what Ted told me. He said, now, don't find nobody else. Find you. Don't take nobody else's inventory. I was good at take yours. And so he creaked with me and told me what to do. And he was teaching me how to read because I was looking for pictures. I wanted to see a bear, a dog, and a cat. The cat says meow. The dog says bow wow. I want to see a picture of that because I like to see animals. Look at that tiger. That alligator. What is that? An alligator. They said. I said an alligator. See, and I learned. So I wanted to see pictures. But I kept making these meetings, and why I like you. And you come in here and make these meetings with me. Because every time I look at you and hear you and see you, first time I ever heard people talking about a sermon, to see a sermon. I've heard people all down in Mississippi, and they were talking, oh, we heard a good sermon today. And then I heard you all talking about seeing a sermon. Seeing a sermon. Seeing something in action. People doing, living and giving and sharing and caring. Didn't care what color, what religion, I never heard of this. Because all I heard of in Shelby, Mississippi, all the old folks describing things about 244 years of slavery, over 130 years of segregation, political exploitation, humiliation, aggravation, frustration. You can't sit here and you can't sit there. You can't drink. And my mama had a tailor shop there, and she sold for everybody. See, and that was something those days. That sold for white folks and everybody else. And they would leave our kids in there sometime. Say, Edna, can you keep little Willie? Can you keep Andy? Never will forget Andy. Andy was 5 years old like me, and we were raising so much hell in that tailor shop. She said, y'all get out of here. See, I'm trying to sew it down. Y'all get out of here now, or else I'm going to whoop some booties. And so we got out. And she said, walk. And we would walk all over that town. We didn't like, see, big people, little people always didn't like, they would scheme on, and me and him would start walking in that town. This is mean a lot to this black fool in AA. We would walk, because my buddy's name was Andy, and me and Andy would walk that town. We would get stage planks. That's in the South with that stage planks. We had a lot of the things. We had people give us, here they come again, and they'd give us stage planks. Then we want some water to drink. And they had two found there, one for colored. I found out I was colored. He was white. They had white on there. And so mine was broke. And I told Andy, I said, I can't. He said, crank out of here. I said, oh, Andy. I said, Mama told me, because that's what the old Sheriff Dudley told. He said, you make sure that when you're growing up, so get them the rules. And so, I can't drink it. And he proved to me, my little buddy, little people talking. Ain't nobody poison my man, ain't nobody poison his, I think. Maybe it wasn't a poison, but I thought it was poison. When somebody got to hate me and do anything, somebody got to teach him, I thought. And I'm learning today from you. And so he told me, and I made him prove it. And we got little things, little people prove it. So he licked his thumb, he crossed his heart, he did a spin around, and he did that. And I said, I knew he wasn't going to say nothing. I drank out of his fountain. We drank out of every fountain in that town. And we went in all the bathrooms. We went in that old bus station. I used all the bathrooms in there. He's watching for that old guy dozed off to sleep at the ticket office. Going. And we had a secret. We'd walk over and look, the sheriff come out and say, you boogers. Say, you boogers, that's what they call you now when you're little. Hey, you boogers, look like y'all into something. We were happy all that week, but on Sundays we cried. Because I lived right across from that church house. And we had lived in a little place where you could see right, but I had my hands in my chin and he'd have his on the steps of that church house. And they call it the house of God. Because they wouldn't allow, that preacher wouldn't allow me and my buddy to go to those beautiful picnics that came from that church house of God. And I hated that church house. I hated that old bald-headed preacher. I hated everything. And I said, I'm going to fly high. They had a big old stone that said came from outer space somewhere. Heaven. And I said, I'm on a dream. I was plotting to be a big eagle, and I was going to fly high in that sky and drop that old rock on that old preacher's bald head because he wouldn't let me and my buddy go. I was baptized twice. They baptized little black kids in Shelby, Mississippi. When you get down wrong, they caught up with me when I was 6 years old. And they moved to Chicago after my daddy died. And then I was baptized again on the south side for stealing apples and oranges from South Water Market. Then my mama sent me to Milwaukee, Wisconsin back in 30. My mama had a whole lot of money when she got there. She had $8,000. That was a lot of money, and the banks was crashing and everything. They had crashed. And boy, she took that money, trying to give me some kind of education. Sent me to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to a black saint school. I think it's the only black saint, St. Benedict. I went there, and I was baptized again up there as a Catholic and confirmed. So you see, I've been baptized, sprinkled, drenched, and damn near drowned looking for that spiritual launching pad. But that wouldn't do, because I really hadn't met you. Now, working at something very new to me, because I began to learn something after you helped me to develop a yearning for learning. Never did I ever have any kind of yearning for living life. I started running from me a long time ago. I didn't like me. I wanted to be somebody else, somewhere else, right now. I'm a pretender. I see a lot of pretenders. I see a lot of fantasy dreamers, a faker. My sponsor introduced me to that kind of dreaming a long time ago. He said, you are now in an educational center, black fool. He said, this program, he saw the stoppers were coming out. He said, this program is about changes. Nothing remains the same, Ted said. So don't start treading waters. Get up there and get your soul length of time, a year, 10 or 30. And tell me, well, I take a little easy now. I say, I don't be making these calls. I knew a guy was becoming an old timer. I don't know how long it takes to be an old timer, because I was with Ted. Some of them say 8 years, 10 years, or some say, and I've seen some people been in here 40 and 50 and they ain't no old timer. They don't say it, but they act, they move. I've seen these people come up on this stage. That don't necessarily tell you that you are for real when you move fast, but I can feel the spirit that they got in their being. I believe in spirit today. Ted told me it's about changes. Nothing remains the same. It's changes. No zoning, no cooking, no treading waters. Say, I'm going to Arkansas. I heard some people in some group say, I don't know if I can go to meetings down there. Say, I made 10 meetings this week, so I don't have, you can't make up no meeting, do 10 and make up. My sponsor told me, you can't breathe enough today for tomorrow. You can't live in the 2 days he told me don't get into. He said, don't you start living in tomorrow and yesterday. He said, of those 2 days you should never try to enter in and try to live, and that's all I was doing. He said, yesterday is a history and tomorrow is a mystery. And you're giving me two things I never had before in strife, me and now. He said, now you got to do something, and you have the equipment, and you all are coming in. Notre Dame, gonna hurry up and put a muzzle on. Notre Dame, Indiana, South Bend, da-da-dee-da-do. Maryland, I know a whole lot of places. Marion, Fort Wayne, da-da-da-da-da. Gary, yes, I see a lot of this whole world, but I'm talking about places that resurrect me, brought me more out of the tomb. I walked in Notre Dame. Ted said, let's go. I never took my hand. We went on. See, Notre Dame. I walked into that retreat house hall and I saw it on the wall, a plaque. I saw a plaque. You all had worked on me, and you're still working on me. Me. You're working on me. This we, which is the key. I walked into that hall, and I saw it. And I wasn't the three of us in there. I saw 3 blacks. And that meant something. See, people wonder, I say, man, that don't worry about being black. I always thought it meant something. It means something. Because it's been meaning something so long. And so I say, I know. So I walked in. I said, look. Everybody stopped. There was about 150 white brothers there, and about 3 of us had come. I said, look. My sponsor said, shh. I said, what's the matter? I said, look. I couldn't say nothing. I was pointing out a plaque on the wall, and that priest looked. He looked back. He said, he wants it. I said, look. I could look and see. It was a plaque. It was talking to me as you have talked. You don't have to say a word, because Bill W. in my home group, Bill Williams, Thursday night meeting in the Evans Avenue group. He's been in there since 1945. And he always makes a statement. He said, what you do sounds so loud till I can't hardly hear a word you say. Look, I saw that plaque. You all had taken care of something. You started me off. You started a fire of desire and helped me to develop a burning yearning for learning. Yes, it's still burning. It's still burning. It'll never go out. I don't think it ever had. You have changed my whole everything about life. They talk about it on page 25. Say, this is the great fact and nothing less, that we have had deep and effective spiritual experiences which have revolutionized our whole attitude toward life, toward our brothers and sisters, and toward God's universe. I don't have to worry about that light way out there. I like it because we're progressing. But I got another telescope I believe is greater than that one. And it's that 4th step. I don't point it out there. I point it in here. And I find I can travel in here further than any 99 million billion light years. And it's still open in here. 4th step, inventory, find. I'm learning what recovery means. Not just not drinking, sniffing, or snorting, cinching, or flinching, or knocking, or blocking, or using any mood-changing, or mind-altering drugs. This about living a life from strife, getting those defects out. I found out I got brothers and sisters. I saw that plaque, and that plaque goes like this. I sought my God, but my God eluded me in Shelby, Mississippi. They said, you can't come in this house of God. You can't sit in that restaurant. You can't walk on this side of the street when it's raining. You can't go to that movie. You can't do this and you can't do that. Had restrictions. and everything. I couldn't go to that house of God. But I heard something else from you. In here, Ted said, this is a program of changes. This is a program of action. This is a program of the highest level of being, which is spiritual to you, black people. Spiritual. Spirituality. Oh, total. I heard him talk about the Oxford group. I heard him talking about the four absolutes. I heard him talking and walking. I heard you. Honesty, unselfishness, purity, and love. You said honesty. You know it better. I'm a ninth grade student, but I am in the greatest school for this fool on the face of this globe. Ted said it's an educational center. Get going, cultivate. It will elevate. It will integrate you with you. The real you. He said one day you're going to meet a stranger that's going to get you out and keep you out of danger. I used to say, Ted, what? And I thought it would be, I didn't want to let Ted know how dumb I really was, because I thought it would be Hank or Frank or Billy or Willie or Lou or Sue or Andy or Dandy. But I found out one day after making one of my regular meetings, I bumped into the stranger, and you know who it was. You know me. I bumped into me right here in this week. When I make my meetings today, my meetings, something about a possessive pronoun or something. You are mine. Sought my God. My God eluded me. Sought my soul I could not see. I sought my sisters and brothers, and now I'm finding all three. That's on that plaque from Notre Dame. I said, look, I've been looking for that. I found out I got a lot of sisters. I never heard my mama and them talk about white brothers and sisters. Always talking about your colored brothers and your this. I got white brothers and sisters, brown, yellow, and red. I'm beginning to understand about these colors and things. I didn't know. I thought they was making fun of people. Maybe it was about the location, the zones that you were born in, geographical location. I don't know. Hey, I don't have to fix my hair. I hear a lot of people, they got beauty shops, all in black men. People got to fix. This lady invented that comb down in Memphis, I think. See, I'm talking about me and what's changing me this week. Looking through it, it's changing a whole lot. Millions of people in this country, in this world. It's changing. Turning them inside out and right about. I had a phone call from a Zulu about 8 years ago. He had been to the mustard seed group. One day my sponsor told me, he said, you've been locked and blocked in here. Mac Harris and all of them won't go nowhere. He said, there's a new white girl just come in town from New York. She opened up a new group. It's a group a little north of the Loop. It's called the Mustard Seed Group, and I want you to be down there on Tuesday, and that's tomorrow at 12:30. He did not tell me nothing about will you go and meet her. And he went, at Tuesday at 12:30, I was in the Mustard Seed Group. Found me another Mustard Seed Group, and yes, in South Bend too. They just as excited as, boy, I'm telling you the truth. All groups are. If they're AA members, seekers. That Christian faith is. Whenever I get in shape to take on a religion, if I have, it would be Christianity is a good one. Ain't what's people running to the Himalayas? See, when you see a Christian, I believe you see somebody. I believe you see somebody when you see. I don't mean people just wearing crosses. This is my belief. This is a black fool who's just coming into life. Because I believe this outfit here, I don't know what that is. I can't degrade you. Say, this spiritual fertilizing grounds in here, you're the greatest to me. Anything I ever heard of. This Zulu called me up and told me. He said, Jimmy Hodges called me over there in Lawndale. Well, my buddy, he been giving me service and trying to keep me on the ball. Pete B over there, he said, Jimmy, come on, I'm going to take you down there because you're getting old and nervous. He didn't say getting old, he tried to nice it out. He said, I want to get, because you got to get up and go to a bank, got to go to something else early in the morning. I said, okay, Pete. He said, I feel retired. Okay, Pete. And so Pete came on down. So I live in Lawndale. That's a bad name. Pete come right on. I got another white brother. I sponsor. See, a lot of people say, and I believe it, and I don't think I'm not going against nothing. I'm just telling you what my sponsor Ted said to me. Because everybody come in from New York and they're talking about, boy, that's the biggest black group in the country, the Evans Avenue group. My sponsor Ted said, you hear them, but don't you believe in it. Said, there ain't no black groups and there ain't no white groups. That's what Ted said. He said, there are AA groups. He said, we got an AA group over here in a black neighborhood that was set up by politicians that's segregating. He said, but the AA ain't segregating. He said, when blacks couldn't assemble, or coloreds couldn't assemble with their other brothers who they didn't know were their brothers and sisters, all in anywhere, just name them, states that said you can't assemble for the law. I'm talking about AA. I'm not talking about racism. I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about what AA means to me, that gave me something that the churches yell and tell about. But these principles here, and you work on it. You live it. You walk it. When you see this, you get what the preachers talk about. You get faith, trust, confidence, and belief. Sisters and brothers, I'm talking about something that people have been looking for. You hear preachers talk about, and get faith. You have faith. Are you now? Have you come to believe? Baptizing you. I'm talking about living faith, trust, confidence, and belief. That's what you do to fools like me. You're waking up this world in the right way to me. I'm getting a new view. And the word travels. This travels faster than anything. That light ain't got nothing to do with this. This can't be explained in no scientific books. Alcoholics Anonymous, that Zulu called me up about 8 years ago. What is he doing with my number? He had came to the mustard seed group, a little north of the loop. I thought it was just another group. You know what he said? When I got there, I saw Betty Young. I saw Judge Walter Kelly. He was running that Tuesday meeting that I chaired today. Judge Walter Kelly. I stayed around there, and I used to think you had to be a scamp from the tramp camps to belong to this no drunk club. But I became a part of the mustard seed group. I used to see people coming through those doors, some owed $1 million and some owned $1 million. They came in from Park Avenue all the way down to park benches, from the high-rise on the Lakeshore Drive, all the way down to the old mustard seed, Madison Street, the Madison Street group, from Yale to J. I seen them coming. Walt Kelly, some more Irishmen in my life. Walt Kelly, Judge Walter Kelly, he told me I had to take that under his time. I got to put on a muzzle here. But see, this is exciting to me. These people lived the message and took a non-believer, a non-believing guy. And I began to see the big book jump into these seats. I didn't have to learn to read fast and tell me I can't understand it. I began to see you. You became the big book. You became the pictures of the big book. I got pictures in my big book. I come here and look around. I see you all the time. I make my meetings to see you. These pretty pictures, living and giving and sharing and caring. When I come in, I get a little bit more of life, not strife, confidence, faith, and trust. Oh, yes. Some of them had PhDs, some had master degrees. Some were like me, didn't even know the ABCs, but they said you have to start at step one, everybody, to get into this beautiful program. Now, I'll tell you this little story, and I close up, and I take you, because I know you got things to do. I know you got things to do, and you know next time, Jerry, don't mess up next time. Don't see, when you get me started lit on fire by AA, and y'all the greatest thing that happened to me, because I heard another white brother. I didn't know his brothers of mine. I've been kept away, limited. This program would open up limitations, no limits. God ain't limited here. I didn't know that. God don't care where you are. Ain't no law gonna keep me from you. In AA, in Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, Georgia, all those places that say no assembly, back in after 1940, some blacks and whites could sit in meetings, they could assemble against the law. They could do it. A Zulu called me up down in South Africa. He said, I've been to the mustard seed group. Is that bounce around still there? I said, yes. How you doing? And he started telling me AA is fine. I said, you a liar? He called me a liar long. He said, you a procrastinator. Something I was supposed to. But he told me, no, he's in AA. I said, what you mean? He said, in Johannesburg, he's going, because it was against the law. Couldn't no guns, and no countries could get together and stop inhuman treatment. But AA could. I'm talking about what AA does right before your eyes. They could assemble where it was against the law. He said, we go to AA meetings when they got certain outlawed places to go. But the guy come by there, brothers in AA. He said, hello, whoever the guy said. That guy said, oh yeah, AA. AA! Anybody that's in AA or be lying about AA, I don't care what it is. Get up and go. Go in the middle of Johannesburg, anywhere where there's a meeting. Everybody sit together, whether you want to or not. AA. Alcoholics Anonymous, AA. Belief, trust. The Army told me I wanted to stay in the Army. Some people say that monkey was he wanted to stay in the Army back in it looked like I was in 1898. I ducked that draft. I wasn't in that one. I ducked up, but they got me in 42. And I wanted to stay in there. I didn't want to come out here. Who wants to pay rent? Who wants to buy food out here? I didn't believe in nothing. Couldn't and wouldn't. I didn't have faith and trust. Too many people told me I couldn't do this, so I didn't care what happened. I'd tap anything, or else take a chance, don't do anything, or burn it up, do it. They said, that boy's crazy, and that's right. I wanted to stay in the Army, but those Army people wasn't crazy. They said, not you. They said, you are a total risk. They said, look at you, thin as until that razor blade, weighing 119 pounds. We don't know how you stayed in here. And they told me, we're getting you out of here because the war's over with now. And they said, we got to get you out of here. And they said, we're going to get you in shape, sent you to 3 hospitals, getting you in shape. Your lungs are gone, collapsed. You got 2 years even if you quit smoking now. Say, why don't you quit? I told them where to go and what to do. But as soon as I met you, not long after then, you did something to me. I started to like, you know what it was. I started to like me. And I think you got to like yourself before you think you are worth anything doing something about it. I started liking me here. I started liking me here. I started liking me. Here he is. I started liking me. I quit smoking. I found out what love was here. There wasn't no caressing thing and all that kissing. And now that's good. Now don't think all you young people doing that old fool. You don't know. I do know something about kissing. I like to kiss too. But love, they're talking about love, and I found it here, a definition that came from AA to me somewhere, somehow, one day, right in here when the stop was love of another, an infinite delight in another's well-being. Love of another, infinite, no limitations, no limits of your well-being. Love of myself, an infinite delight in my well-being. That costs something, sisters and brothers. That costs. I don't mean looking in the mirror. I'm an old fairy godmother and all like that. Ain't got nothing. There's a lady invented a hot comb down in Memphis back in the turn of the century, Madam Walker. And a lot of people say, man, that liberated the black women and the black men. Entertainers trying to comb and straighten the hair to look like that little boy could go to the show and church and everything. He'd have his long hair. And I found out in here, she didn't liberate, she enslaved a whole lot of people so they could get in a dream world like me. Get in a dream world of pretending again. I found out here, I believe was born in zones. Certain zones on this earth, I wasn't like the slave master said, way back there in the 16, 17, put them up on that block. I'm not talking about it, I'm talking about the eyes of AA, what it is doing. Put them up on that big ugly, you got to like yourself, black and nappy-headed, big nose. I believe whatever zones you are in, this God, the laws of the universe, the source, the force, have given me a survival kit. These nostrils were going in and out for hundreds of thousands of years, breathing in that heat and those gases from the earth and that water purified, and the eyes were black. And your zones and your skin wasn't black. Somebody painted you because they wanted somebody else to see you and know who. They didn't paint me. I was in the zone where that sunlight and the protection, that pigment, and as you left that zone, the torrid, move up to the temperate, then the skins got a little lighter. The eyes became brown, hazel, green, blue. God, you say, didn't create no junk, and I believe it. Everything God or this force she created is of the highest level of being spiritual back. Everything is good. Everything is good. And so, black is beautiful to me. So is white. So is brown, yellow, and red. So is all my brothers and sisters. I don't hear many people talk about till I got to AA. I've been limited from my brothers and sisters. I found out God didn't create no junk. Lord Tennyson, who was he? He was an English literary giant. I heard the word from you, and he dared stand up in that English parliament that day. They were running the world and declare himself. He said, I'm a Christian. He said, but this God that you talk about way up yonder in heaven goes over his head or something like that. And I know you know more about Tennyson than I do, but that little I heard from you popped some more big stoppers out. Because I thought I was locked out of that church. They had a big house of God down, and the guy said, you can't go in there. Only reason I couldn't because I was colored. Only one reason. And anything else because you're colored. I couldn't go in that school. I couldn't go. So something must have been wrong. But Tennyson said the God that he believed in was nearer than breathing and closer than hands and feet. Some more stoppers popped out. I found out who my sisters and brothers were. Notre Dame told me. So I see them. They're not limited to mankind. Every dog, frog, hog, log, every cat, bat, gnat, rat, every ant, every plant, every snail, every whale. God created my brothers and sisters with spiritual. Now, I know there are a lot of theories. I'm not working on theory now. I'm working on the belief that I learned from what I heard this brother and sister, all of them come up there and talk about and walk about. Yes. Then I'm through. Look, I quit smoking. First year. I haven't had a cigarette. I want to thank you all for not smoking. I want to thank you. Don't have to. You know you didn't. Coming out and knocking out your privilege. You quit. Thank you. You're sharing care and you do things like that. I quit smoking the first year I was in alcoholic over 35 years ago. I quit smoking. Then as a Gillette razor blade weighing 119. Then I started eating everything that wasn't nailed down. I went up to 191 pounds. Then in 1964, walking like this, they say he's so healthy. In fact, I couldn't, my arms wouldn't get down. I weighed 191, 4 feet by 2. Then I jumped into these spiritual principles and total. Then I quit September 26, 1964. I quit eating meat, butter, milk, eggs, chicken, and fish. I started living on fruits and vegetables and grain. And how did I learn that? By being smart of me? I don't know nothing. But you start giving through your living me the courage to see, have faith, trust, or living belief and faith and trust and confidence. This is necessary. You mean something on this earth, boy. You mean something, baby boy, gray-haired boy. You ain't grown yet, my sponsor tells me. Say, growing up is good, ain't it? I said, yes, sir. It is exciting. So I began to get free, and I want to thank you all for freeing me. And I'm not talking about Abraham Lincoln freedom through proclamations and declarations, but through association, development, desire, self-determination, and self-realization, which is the key of seeing and being and enjoying and looking and living. Ain't nobody never done nothing to me that caused me to jump up and have resentment. That's talking about in recovery. You said that came from a Greek word meaning to refeel and relive anger. That's what was killing me. I have to learn to get into the program of action. I'm talking about recovering, making decisions, being responsible. I'm coming down here. I want to thank you all and thank you for inviting me. Oh, man. You're tough guy. What? I get something else? Boy, you guys are tough. You are still hollering at. You're just calling the time on. Thank you, sister. Oh, thank you all. You all give me my life. Hey, big brother. You give me my life, big guy. Hey, sister.